Alright, hello everybody. Today we're going to be going over how to do the Chromie solo scenario. So I've done this now on the first day, so this is with basically no buffs. I've only got the buffs from the first day. So it does get significantly easier as you progress through it more, as you start unlocking some of the advancements, but it is a pretty fun encounter to do, especially if you're doing it for the first time. So I've developed this path basically around this first obsidian dragon shrine here. So I'm flying north and we're going to be killing the first mob in the dragon shrine. Now we're killing this one here with all our cooldowns and heroism proccing, and this is just to make sure we get maximum time efficiency for this. I did manage to finish the run with about 3 minutes left, so the timer isn't that tight. It just relies on two rare drops you get during the encounter. So now I did have celestial alignment on cooldown here because they don't reset after the encounter. So there is definitely even more time to be made up essentially. But so the first, okay, so that was the big first thing there. So my first sands that I got dropped a treasure chest, and these treasure chests allow you to skip 2 of the portals later on, and they're the biggest time savers you can get throughout the entire dungeon. So if possible, make sure you do pick up those treasures, and you will need 2 of them to complete this in time, especially on this first week. Now we're coming inside the dragon try here to actually clear out some mobs, and that's because these big constructs here actually drop the sands. So when we're going through the sands, we essentially, most of the time you just want to get things on the right. So it's you're just looking for time, damage done really, and speed is alright. But it's really time and damage done that you want, and to pick up treasures. And the caches and not the gold treasures. So periodically, there's going to be 3 chests that spawn in the this obsidian dragon shire up here, and I believe this is time based on your actual server time, because I've got these spawning on every attempt last night, and then suddenly they stopped and spawned on the left hand side, and then I came back this morning and they were spawning back on the right hand side. So I do believe if they're not up, just if you want to wait a little bit and come back, they will be up the next time you try. So I do believe they are on a periodic spawn. But the idea is, off the start of the encounter, you want to be going to the obsidian dragon shrine, and killing the mob, using the heroism on that mob from Chromie, and then going inside and clearing up to this chest, grabbing the chests, and then flying back down. So I was lucky in this run. I also got 2 bronze drakes to clear 2 of the shrines for me. So that does clear up a lot of time. And then you want to be, so at this point then now you want to be going around through the map and trying to clear up all the dragon shrines and then handing in your quests. So I was lucky and got 2 bronze drakes, which cleared 2 of the dragon shrines for me. They are probably one of the better ones. Dragon shrines don't take too long to complete, but you'll find that if you don't, doing a dragon shrine essentially takes longer than any buff you can get, except for maybe damage. Damage might be the exception. So on this next mob here, there isn't really anything special to do. You just got an interrupt and just making sure you're moving preemptively for the silence. Again, none of the bosses are really too difficult in this. There are a few things that you got to watch out for, but if you've got Chromie as a healer, she does carry you through a lot of the encounters and does make up for a lot of your mistakes. So very simple, just killing the mob. And then after this, we're going to be going, now there is an order you want to be doing these in, and they're essentially all to be fishing out for these caches that you can get to skip the chrono portals at the top. So I've got the chrono portal for Stratholme. So we're going to use that portal then to go complete Stratholme first and trying to get out as many sands as possible. And we want to be doing that because the sands then essentially have a greater, the more sands we have, the greater chance we have of actually skipping one of the chrono portals at the top. So because I got those 2 bronze drakes, I only need to clear them, and then go back to Dragonblight, sorry, go back to the chrono portals at the top, and we're gonna start on Stratholme, I believe. Yeah. So we're going to Stratholme because we have the key. Now it's important to note that if you do start getting a lot of speed buffs, you can actually, say on a druid for example, my travel form is sometimes actually quicker than, my cat form is sometimes actually quicker than my travel form. So sitting in cat form might actually be a run speed increase over actually mounting or doing whatever. So because we picked up the key, we're allowed to go then to the left and skip straight through this entire scenario. There is a few mobs we got to do, but Stratholme definitely is the chrono pushard you want to be getting. There are a few tricks to doing Stratholme if you are going to run through it, but it does still take a lot of time because you need to wait for some RP. You need to do a lot of walking, so if you don't have high mobility, then it does, it's just one of the longest portals. So you definitely want to be looking for the skip for Stratholme. So just killing the mobs here. Now the only thing you need to know with the Stratholme boss is that it has the tangling web buff like this spider boss in Archway. So ideally on my druid, if you have Displacer Beast, that's great, but you just need to make sure you do run away from Chromie pretty quickly, unless you might kill her. And then just sneaking down the boss, and then this is the entire chrono portal done here. So at this point here, you're really looking to have two of the skips. If you don't have two skips at this point, you're probably not going to make the timer. So it is actually quite, if you get pretty much up to this point, and you want to just look to save time, you may as well just reset the encounter rather than trying to continue, because you don't really get any more essences from this point on. Most of the essences you're going to be getting are from the very start of the dungeon. So you get one per boss, and we don't have it yet. So it is kind of unfortunate for this run, but I do get lucky later on. So next up, I'm going to be doing the Hyjal portal. Now the Hyjal portal, you can get a skip for the Hyjal portal, but the Hyjal portal is pretty easy to do, especially if you know how it works. So the Hyjal portal, is basically you just need to defend Chromie. Now these first mobs here, the actual dogs aren't that dangerous, they just push you around. This mob actually hits very hard, so it's not something you just have to kite, just don't let him hit you for too long. Depends if Chromie buffs you with a damage reduction, you can just sit there and cast into it, or if you have damage, you can just sit there and blow it up. But then when the 4 dogs comes, you'll see I'll just, they do knock you back and they are a nuisance, but it's, they don't do much damage, so you can just sit there and AoE them down. Now these next mobs are ones that can get you off guard, just because, so if you let them cast, so the big mob again just does a lot of damage if it connects to you and starts attacking you, but if you have damage again, just try and nuke it down and kill it to save time. Now these next mobs here, they have a spell reflect that they put up and they cast. So if you can't nuke these mobs in a number of seconds, don't hit them, let them stay stunned, and just kill them one by one. Because if they get their spell reflect off, you're going to essentially, I've done it a couple times, you just cast a full moon into them and you die. Now this mob here will just silence you, there's nothing you can do about it. So, it's rather annoying, but he doesn't actually hit very hard, he's just kind of a nuisance. You just want to make sure you keep continually AoEing down the ads, because they can get out of hand if you just leave them alone. Obviously as a balanced druid, it's not really much of an issue to actually AoE stuff down, so yeah. You don't really want to try and avoid pulling anything in the sky here. They do have a very low chance on dropping the sands, so there's not really any point in clearing much else for the entire dungeon. The only reason we actually go and clear the obsidian side is because they do have those chests that spawn and they drop about 8 sands on average, 8 to 9, like 7 to 8 on average, I'd say. Now these mobs here, they are quite dangerous if you let them continuously channel on them, if you don't have a lot of interrupts, knockbacks, whatever, and they do put these plumes on the ground, and they are rather hard to avoid all of them if you're trying to actually do a decent amount of damage to them. So I kind of just slow pull these, pull a couple at a time, and just, obviously burst them down a single target when I have damage. Now I do accidentally pull something in the sky here, which isn't the best, but again, the timer really isn't too tight as long as you actually get the right skips. Originally when I was doing this, I thought that damage buffs were pretty much everything you needed to do it, but it's honestly, there isn't actually that much you need to kill where a damage buff is that significant. You could get super lucky on RNG and actually get this Hyjal skip here as well. but that's just up to you. So you see here I'm just using all my things, and then I see I got a cache up there on the left, and I know then because I've cleared the Firelands portal that that's going to be my what's it called? It's the cannon skip, whatever that is, and that's the actual biggest time saving skip you can get in this entire place. So that, I think it's our gold or whatever. So you'll see me doing that next with the skip. But they're essentially the two skips you need to actually complete this in time, especially if you're going to be doing this on the first week. So once we kill this guy, he'll drop another essence, and then we'll go do the gold, and you'll see how easy the skip is for that. I don't think I get too many plus 30-second timers on this. Like, I think I had pretty good luck with the dragon shrines in the beginning, and then obviously getting the 2 treasures. But I probably would have tried this like 4 or 5 times, this exact route, and I would have gotten basically the same luck on almost everyone. The only thing that's kind of requires a bit of luck to get is the skip. If you don't get the skip before if you don't get like one of the skips at least right at the start, it's very unlikely you're going to actually have enough RNG to get 2. Now the Well of Eternity, this is the one that can take you the longest amount of time. So the Well of Eternity, the first time you'll do this, you'll notice it takes forever. Chromie has some really bad pathing and whatnot, and it's because it's kind of it's a weird. So it's supposed to be an escort quest, but you're the one actually leading the way. So Chromie will follow you, but Chromie will also have mobs that come and randomly attack her. And what happens is these mobs will come and attack her from behind, and then she will stay stationary, and the mobs will keep coming and attacking her from behind. So what we want to make sure you're doing is between every combat pool, you actually allow Chromie to catch up to you, so she doesn't keep pulling stuff and then standing still when you're killing the next mobs right behind you. And then it just kind of snowballs out of hand from there. So you want to make sure every single time you kill a mob, you look behind you, you check that there's no mobs coming, and then you walk on forward, and then you just make sure Chromie's actually following. So you can see just there that I walked on forward and Chromie was still actually attacking a mob. If I didn't notice that mob was there, I could have gone and killed one of these things, and then Chromie again would have been like 30 seconds behind where I actually wanted her to be. So this little pathway through here, really all you want to be doing is try and skipping as many infernals as possible, just because they have the most amount of HP. These casters here, they don't really do anything, so they're pretty easy to kill. And then you just want to make sure, again, you're constantly checking behind you to make sure that Chromie's actually catching up. So you'll see I'll wait up here until Chromie actually comes. When Chromie comes, we'll position her around on the right hand side so she doesn't pull any of the pants, and we'll kill these 2 mobs here. Once these 2 mobs go down, you want to be going through the portal. Now, Chromie doesn't actually cast anything on the portal, she just needs to be in range, so hopefully if nothing else spawns, you can just go click straight on it. There's been a couple times where I've just sat there and she hasn't clicked it. So when you get up to this pathway here, now what you can actually do is stealth and hug right. If Chromie's following you on the right hand side, you can actually stealth all the way past these, but she does have some weird movement sometimes where she just kind of jolts out from the edge, and then we'll pull the packs. So I think you'll see me do I do this one because I know Chromie's not really going to be positioned well, but you'll see the next pack. You can pretty much always skip this next pack with a stealth if you have it, and you'll see me do that, and that's just because of the actual angling of the stairway here. So Chromie will get her positioned on the left. She's actually under my raid frames right now, but yep, so Chromie positioned on the left, and she just walks straight through. So that's a nice little time saver there. So right now you'll see that my time is almost out, but then I've got 3 minutes in reserve, so easy. So once we kill these mobs, we're going through, and we've got the last boss to do. So again, there's not really anything mechanically that difficult. Really the only thing you need to be doing is just making sure you're getting the skips. Obviously, when you're doing this with no buffs, it does have a pretty large RNG component to it, whether or not you get those skips or not. But it's doable. It's definitely doable in a couple of tries if you want to put the time in to do it. This boss super easy, just dodge the things coming through. Now I honestly, when I did these, I never really worried about whether I got the damage buffs or the move speed buffs. You know, they're pretty irrelevant because you don't actually need to kill much if you're doing the skips. So once we get to the end, and you know, that's it. You kill all 8. And then it kind of just says exit to present time, and I was like, whoa, do I, you know, am I supposed to get an achievement or something? And apparently not. So, you know, none of the mobs here give you any kind of text or whatever, tell you, you know, to take you back to the present time. You just leave the scenario and your quest is complete. And so it's kind of it's a pretty lame ending to an actually, it's a pretty cool scenario. You know, it would have been actually cool if they put like the tiny little bit of extra work when you actually completed the 8th, when you saved it for the 8th time, that you know, you got an achievement, you got, you know, something just to say, you know, you've done it. But apparently not. You just get your transmog and that's it. So I actually go back in now to check if, you know, if I missed anything, if I stuffed it up. But that's the entire scenario. Anyway, so there you go. Day one Chromie. Definitely doable. Definitely doable on multiple classes, I'd say. I don't think I was too tight on the timer, and I don't think I was, you know, I'm not the best boom kid in the world. So anyway, yep. Good luck, and I hope you enjoyed.